Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crusader Kings 2, Hashashin. I wanted to start the episode a little bit by talking about threat and what the intent of the threat mechanic is. In Crusader Kings 2, you have large realms that can form, like the Holy Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire, or at least my Byzantine Empire, and Khiva. And these nations are very powerful. They have very large armies. So the Kaiser has 35,000 men. That's more than... okay, not quite as more than I have, but close. And left unchecked, these nations will often grow constantly. They're not really constrained by anything internally, and the AI especially doesn't have a whole lot to worry about, because more often than not, the only thing that they have to deal with is the occasional faction for different claimants. So, for example, right now I have Prince Victor for Egypt faction, who's trying to put my uncle in charge. Now, that's not usually an issue for the AI, because even when they get overthrown, it's not like they receive a game over or anything like that. So, internally, these nations they're pretty stable. And that's fine, except as the game progresses and these realms get larger, they get able to basically conquer out of control. And the AI doesn't do it that often, but you know who does do it very often? The player. The player could see a bunch of small nations around him and see this as, oh, well, I can go in here, I can attack Georgia, and I can attack Anatolia, and they barely have any troops. I could take care of them. I could kill them. I could conquer them. And then I have these two regions, and those troops become mine. Then it's like, oh, well, I can go over here. I can conquer Hungary. I can conquer Croatia, and I can conquer Gallic here. All in one war. I could fight all three of these nations at once, and it would not be a problem. And then I am even more powerful. And then I'm like, oh, the Holy Roman Empire. Yeah, I think I could totally take those guys. And at the same time, I could probably kill Poland as well. And that's the sort of snowballing that players often do. The point of threat is to slow down that snowballing effect. Not stop it. Not stop it, and we'll get into that in a second. But to slow it down just a little bit, because yeah, you might be able to beat Mesopotamia in a one-on-one fight, but not if everyone around them is supporting them. And especially in lower threat... what am I trying to say? In the lower threat tiers, where only the defensive packs of the certain religious groups join up together. And you might say that's a historical, nobody together, except they did work together, especially against the likes of, say, the Mongols, who went on massive conquering sprees, and pretty much anyone put in a position where they have a nation that is conquering uncontrollably would approach someone and say, hey, if we don't stop these guys, you're next. So you're going to want to help me, or you're going to have to deal with an even more powerful enemy. So that was sort of the intent of the threat mechanic, is to slow down nations and players especially from invading out of control. And it worked. people aren't happy. Some people aren't happy about it, but it worked. But here's why I say it only slows it down. Let me just take a little bit of a sip of my water, because this is a lot of speaking for me for the first 5 minutes of the episode. It only slows it down to a point. So, I have 37,000 troops. The Sunni defensive pact, the Muslim defensive pact, consists of basically the Despot of Rum, who has 2.6 thousand men, the Sultan of Mesopotamia, who has 8,000 men, the Sultan of Georgia, who has 600 men, and a bunch of other little minor nations that don't matter. Sultan of Anatolia kind of matters, but not really. Is that enough to stop 40,000 men? I don't think so. And that is where the threat mechanic only slows down the snowballing system. And there's another reason why it slows it down too. Even at 100% threat, which means all the defensive pacts will unite against you. If you have a large, powerful enough army that you can storm your objective, take what you want in this war, and get 100% war score, then you can win without having to fight the entirety of the defensive pact. At all, sometimes. And that is why defensive pacts don't really work as excellent snowballing inhibitors in the very late game. And B, why I don't mind the threat mechanic, because again, it only does so much. If you bide your time, if you're patient, if you take your time with your conquests, you will reach a tipping point where threat doesn't matter at all. Are we at that tipping point right now? Well, no, we are not. But we are at a point, I think, where we can take on at least the Muslim defensive pact. The Sunni Muslims have been having a horrible time in this game. They have been. They've had constant revolts. They had their kingdom split apart. They've actually had their kingdom split apart multiple times. They had Rum up here split into Anatolia and Georgia. And then they had... There's this one. I think so. Yeah. And then they had Persia at the time have a similar situation where they split into Khiva, Mesopotamia, and I think at one point Jerusalem was independent. I don't remember. But even this massive Sunni empire has just had constant internal strife. We've seen it in our series. Every few years they have a revolt or some sort of uprising. And the Frufri heresy is still going strong. And then they had me, who just kept constantly picking away at their territory. We took most of Africa from them. We've taken most of Arabia from them. And we were the ones who pushed south into Abyssinia and Nubia. Although they have much... These heresies, they're bad this episode. Although the Sunnis have taken much of Abyssinia for themselves. That's fine. That's not the point. I'm not too worried about that. What's this? Raiders. Okay. What's this? Oh, that's the retinue of the guy who died. Okay. I was a bit confused. Plots are being disbanded. People are dying. That's fine. So, what are my plans? My plans are... Somebody got burned at the stake. My plans are simple. I want to bring order to chaos. When I say chaos, I mean this chaos. All of these nations, they're not true kings. They haven't been for a long while. They've sort of been fighting over scraps. The scraps being the region between the former Byzantine Empire and the Persians, the Khivans. And I think it's time that we start cleaning up some of these scraps. Rum is... they're just echo of the past. Looks like Sarkia. Where are you, Sarkia? Well, it's prospering. That's the important part. Anatolia is unimportant. They just don't do it for me. I had some minor hopes that they would clean up some of this mess, but they have failed. Caliph, I see. I do not approve of the tone of your last letter, accusing others of trying to obscure your own failings and keeping your realm safe and only leave you looking like... What? Give me my prestige. So, it's just time that this cluster of garbage here just goes. And then we can deal with Khiva. If Khiva is effectively the only Sunni nation left, we can bring them down easily. Okay, we have a Miaphysite revolt. I suppose it was inevitable, considering how many heresies we were having issues with. We'll go ahead and we'll organize troops to take care of that. First things first, we have enough piety now, and you saw me at the beginning while I was lecturing everybody on threat and how it works. Well, or at least how it... Why I don't even know what that rant was about, honestly. It's just how I perceive threat. I don't perceive threat as a problem. I perceive threat as an anti-snowball mechanic, because there isn't an anti-snowball mechanic in Crusader Kings 2. Once you get large and powerful enough, you can fight anyone that you want. And honestly, threat doesn't really address that problem in the very late game anyway. Once you're starting to swing 50,000 troops around, who unites against you doesn't really matter. Well, obviously, I'm going to... threaten him to stay out of all factions. And probably attempt to assassinate him. Because I am not a fan of that society. That's plenty of people. Just go take care of them. That's fine. Another day at court and another endless procession of matters that you are required to pass judgment on. Yet another peasant droned on about his sickly pigs, and neighbors he believed poisoned them. You feel a profound emptiness. This isn't the life that you had imagined. So now we're depressed. That's not good. And that's sort of an inevitability with the rulership focus. I sort of want to go hunting. Let's go hunting. It might drop our domain size down. Yeah, I was just thinking that. But what we'll do instead is we'll just give up the Emirate of Cairo, I think. Do we have the Emirate of Cairo? We do. So we'll just give you the Emirate of Cairo. Yeah, that's fine. Stop running away. Ah, I see. That challenge. My only option is to wound him. Well, wound him. I can shut the gates. Let's go ahead and do that. I see... I see there's quite the plague going on over here. That's fine. Oh, so I gave him the emirate, but I didn't give him the title. Okay, come on, game. You know what I meant to do. Stop teasing. It's rude. And just like that, the revolt is over. You want to marry my daughter. You're leader of another Kievan revolt. Ah, yes, that one. I do want to war with Mesopotamia. Oh. This is the Abbasids. Well, who's Caliph? Who is the Sunni Caliph? I'm curious. Can I just type in Caliph? No. Okay, so I'll have to go down here. What's it called? Where is it? I don't remember how to find this. Caliph Nasruddin. Nasruddin. There you are, the Bay. I see. So the Abbasids gave up the title of Caliph. Interesting. Okay. That's sort of a little unusual. But that's fine. And I have groomed an heir, which means my son has come of age. He's not the greatest, I'll be honest. More heresy has appeared. He's not the greatest, but he's probably about as good as we're going to get. Let's find him a genius wife. There we go. And of course he is unlanded. Well, I don't think he's going to be unlanded for long. Khaganate of Cumania, Sultanate of Georgia. Let's bring this defensive pact down and strike at the heart of it immediately. Anatolia, I believe, is the strongest. Oh no, I guess it would probably be Mesopotamia. And that would give me another holy site. Let's start. I'm thinking here. The gears in my head are turning. Conquering Mesopotamia, or at least the kingdom here, would give me a good jumping off point into Persia, into Syria, basically into an attack on Khiva itself. But invading and conquering Anatolia just gets rid of this disgusting, or helps to get rid of this disgusting mess that has turned into what's left of the Byzantine Empire. I like pretty maps. I like pretty borders. So I'm going to go with Anatolia. Yes. It's time to invade Anatolia. I want to invade or do Holy War. Either way, I'm going to be getting the possibility of Khiva to join in, which isn't great, but let's do it. What's this? What? Don't lie to me, game. Oh, and we also have the Mamelukes. We'll raise them up, too. It's time to bring these guys down. Put 46,000 troops on Constantinople. Or it's not Constantinople anymore, it's it's whatever I called it. I don't remember. Baccaria, that's it. Of course, how could I forget Baccaria? Hey, my wife is pregnant, and I don't think it's somebody else's. I must have made sure this time. Jihad for Sicily. The great Sunni Caliph Nasruddin has decided to call a jihad against the Kafirs in the Kingdom of Sicily. Okay, I mean, that certainly distracts the remaining Sunnis that aren't in this war. It's possible for me to rank up. Nice. We'll go ahead and we'll do that. We're going to get a whole bunch of defeat notifications because, well, my armies are... Ooh, hold on. I forgot to take note of the supply limit here. Okay. Go back to what you were doing. I just had flashbacks to my Medieval 2 campaign. Word has reached us that an ambitious Khan from beyond the Great Mountains has set out to unite the clans of the Great Steppe. It is also said by men who read the stars that this Khan is destined to become the ruler of the world. What could those equestrians hope to accomplish? And a convenient peasant revolt. Well, surely the Sultan of Arabia has enough men to handle that. Yeah, he does. Let's go ahead and load up these men. We'll come back for the rest if need be. Oh good, more heresy. Exactly what I needed. Exactly what I hoped and dreamed would happen. A son was born. We're still secluded. And I was wounded again? Did I misunderstand? That groaning was quite off-putting. My apologies. Did I misread that one event with the assassin duel and it was actually I who was injured? Perhaps it was so. I have an idle council member. Go do a thing. You too, Court Mullah. Go do a thing. Really tired of these roofies. Perhaps you could do something about that as my Court Mullah. Prince Victor of Egypt has instituted something I don't care about. Oh, that's right. You are a double duke, aren't you? Interesting. Okay. I think that was something that I was going to do to take care of, and I just never got around to it. Is there anyone more useful that I could marry? I could marry you. You have genius. Genius is good. Stewardship, of course. My vassals are getting angry because their levies are raised. That's fair. Let's go ahead and assault this holding, since I'm taking attrition anyway. More people have converted. That's good. Ooh. She is the genius that I married to my half-brother. Get out. I don't care. Has to go. Servant Baron of Alexandria is really getting on my nerves. My wife has sensed my irritation and offers to give me advice on the matter. I think I can figure it out myself. I am a little concerned. No. About this large Mesopotamian army here. Okay, there's going to be... Ooh. I'm out of money. Hold on. Pause the game. Firstly, let's get some money. And then we'll get some more money. That's fine. And now, where did all of our commanders go? Oof. We'll line up a few commanders. Because we're going to have a battle, and I want to make sure that... Ooh, he's pretty good. Or at least he has a bunch of modifiers. I want to make sure that we're ready. And we have the proper troops for this. You have a bunch of modifiers too, so you'll make a good flank. Where's the other guy with a bunch of modifiers? There you are. Farmland, mountain, steppe, and plain. I don't necessarily think that we're going to be fighting in any of those. Oh, we are going to be fighting in the plain. Okay. In that case, go for it. Oh, they're being crushed. Excellent. Also excellent, my province got converted to the right religion for once. For once? For once. What a novel concept. Good job, Court Mullah. I'll tell you what. Go to this plague-infested region. It's fine. I promise. And I'm even going to send you a gift for doing a good job. Did that make him happier? No. But I felt like being generous because that's the first province that we've really converted for a while. And we'll go ahead and we'll continue assaulting here because, again, we're taking attrition. We might as well. Decadent relatives. Take care of that real quick. Excellent. Can you go here? Actually, it would be better if you went there because you have the smaller army size. At least for the moment. More decadent relatives. We'll scare him out of his decadence. Excellent. Vassals are getting less happy. We have another Cretan revolt here, of course. Those two just fight like cats and dogs, don't they? They're pushing into Arabia. That's fine. The important battle is up in Anatolia. And the plague is gone. That means I can open the gates and find a court physician. As more heresy appears. Portraits you about a ship that just docked in Cyrenaica. Ship called Storm of Allah, and on board resides renowned physician, the Sea Devil! Oh, I want the Sea Devil. I want his reincarnation. He has a loyal parrot. Do it. Give him the money. Glorious, glorious pirate physician. Excellent. Okay, let's put our ships away. I don't think we need them anymore. I'm not worried about this. If they want to really invade Arabia, I'll just take Anatolia for myself. And I'll win a war that way. My daughter was sleeping around. That's her problem. My court chaplain died. He must have gotten sick. Oops. And we haven't assassinated that heretic yet. That's fine. My daughter's being nosy. Go ahead and we'll assault down this province. Nope, I'm not giving out my land to anyone. Let's try to blackmail those people. And it worked. Excellent. Well, that was an episode. So I've finally gotten over my wimping out on attacking into defensive packs. Ooh, there's a revolt going on here, that's for sure. For Count Andreas' claim to the Holy Roman Empire. Okay. Leon has reconquered France. Good. Now, if they're smart, they'll destroy the kingdom titles and switch over to... They already have primogeniture. Okay. But I assume not all of them are. Primogeniture... Gavelkind. Gavelkind. See, they need to do something about those titles. Anyway, I got distracted for a second by shiny things. Well, anyway, I got over my fear of defensive packs with some roundabout logic that probably doesn't make any sense. So we'll finish this war next time. But until then, happy gaming.